This is going to be a long monthly wrap up. Hey everyone, it's Rose and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my October reading wrap up, where I take you through all the books I read this month and spoiler free rate and review them for you guys. As you can see, read a lot of physical books so far this month. I have read 23 books, which is, I did some maths earlier, 7,560 pages. So did a lot of reading, have a lot of thoughts. So I guess we're just gonna have to go straight into it if I can figure out how to balance all of these books. Okay, I actually read quite a few of these in different reading vlogs, so I will let you know before I talk about them if there are reading vlogs where you can get more details. These first three were all in my Can I Read My October TBR video, so if you want to see more in-depth reactions, spoiler free of course, go over there, but let's talk about them. The first book I read was The Wrong Family by Tarryn Fisher. I ended up rating this book 4 stars. It was so good. A lot of the books I read this month are thrillers, and I really recommend going into thrillers blindly. Of course, check content warnings, but other than that, I don't even read the blurb most of the time because I love piecing things together myself. This was a read in one sitting kind of book. It kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time, and although I did predict the ending, it still gave me chills as I read it. This was a quick read. It was just over 300 pages and I would really recommend it. We read Good Bad Girl by Alice Feeney, which was another 4-star read. I love Alice Feeney's writing so much. She is so good at writing quick, fast-paced, twisty-turny thrillers, which are my favourite kind. Bad things happen to good people, so good people have to do bad things. 4 women must solve a mystery with 3 suspects, 2 murders, and 1 victim. Now, you may be thinking, just like I did when I heard that, how can there be 2 murders and only 1 victim? Well, you will find out eventually. It feels really weird to say that, but a good thriller's gonna creep you out and you're gonna love it, so 4 stars. We have My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing, which I rated 3 stars. You guessed it, it is another thriller. The back of this book really intrigued me. It says, this is a story about a married couple. They have a very dark secret. You might think you've read stories like this before. You'd be wrong. The premise of this book, and this is not a spoiler, like this is the whole premise, it's a married couple that kill together. I thought based on the premise I would eat it up. I did rate it 3 stars because I did like it. It just didn't hit the same, and when I read a lot of thrillers in a row, I'm really going to become critical of ones that don't hit the same as the higher ones. I don't know, I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it either. It was very interesting. I did not like some of the plot twists though. I read The Guilty Couple by C.L. Taylor, another 3-star thriller. I feel like when I do read thrillers a lot, they have to stay really good, otherwise they do start to feel quite repetitive. Although they can be so different in their contents, the formula starts to feel quite predictable, and I guessed a lot of the plot twists in this one. So this is about a woman who spent 5 years in prison for being found guilty of trying to plot her husband's murder, but she says she's innocent and she needs to like get revenge on him kind of. When she's getting out, she's like, why the hell did you like set me up for this? And he's like, I didn't. There's also a kid involved. I don't know, I just felt really bad for the kid in a lot of it, and it did not wow me. It felt quite slow for a thriller, and the whole point of a thriller for me is that it's fast paced, so it let me down a bit, but it must have redeemed itself. I honestly don't remember, but I did rate it 3 stars, so it must have redeemed itself somehow. And we have Rock Paper Scissors by Alice Feeney. This was 4 stars. This did what my favourite thrillers do, where you have characters and you isolate them, whether that be in a cabin in the middle of nowhere, or they get snowed in, or they get trapped on an island. I'm referencing my favourite books here. This one, they go to the Scottish Highlands. The twists in this book were absolutely insane. I loved it. My heart was racing reading this. Like, I was on the edge of my seat. There are a lot of, I think they're letters written from our main woman to our main man, for the different years of their marriage, and that's like going back in time because they're currently like, I think like 12 years married, and you see them like in their first year of marriage and you see all the love, and then you're trying to figure out what goes wrong along the timeline. This is so read. And I loved it. I definitely recommend. I think that's all I have to say on this book. I have been rambling a lot of that's probably going to get cut out. Then we have The Apartment Upstairs by Leslie Cara. I rated this book 3 stars. I really liked the ending. But this, again, it felt really slow for a thriller. Nothing really happened until like the last 80 pages. The premise of this is that Scarlett's aunt was brutally murdered and she lives in the apartment upstairs, and like she's going back there to live there because she has a disability and it's like adapted, the apartment. So she's like, oh, I want to go and live back there, but no one can understand why when it's like downstairs your aunt was murdered. And I'm not going to tell you anymore. I did like it. I did not love it though, and I really love Leslie Cara's writing, so it did disappoint me a bit. Can you see I utilised my local library a lot this month? I was on a book buying ban, I'm still on a book buying ban, and the library is helping with that. We have Trust Me by T.M. Logan, which I rated 3.5 stars. This woman is on a train. Another woman comes up to her with a baby and says, can you hold my baby for me while I take this phone call for a minute? And she's like, yes, sure. And then the train starts moving and the woman on the train sees the baby's mum off the train running away. There's like a note that says, don't trust the police, please look after my baby. She's like, what the hell is going on? There is obviously a lot more to the story. This, again, so messed up. I think I guessed a couple bits, which is why it was a 3.5 stars, but I really do like T.M. Logan for thrillers. And then we have Her Last Holiday by C.L. Taylor. I don't want to tell you anything about this book because I could not explain it and do it justice if I tried. I rated it 3 stars. I feel like, I don't know, maybe I should have stopped reading thrillers like so back to back to back, but I just love them so much. I predicted quite a few plot twists that weren't really, they were plot twists, but I feel like they were hinted at to the point where you guessed what was going to happen. And I like being shocked because if I figure it out really easily, then what is the point, in my opinion? It was 3 stars, so it was not a bad book, but there are some that were definitely a lot better that I read this month. We're finally having a change of genre. I read Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. I rated this 4 stars. I can relate to this woman so much. I feel like she is so neurodivergent coded. The way she talks about masking and the way she talks about just how she is socially and how her inner mind and monologue work. She is me in so many ways. I loved this book. I loved the representation, even though I don't know like if she's actually neurodivergent, but to me she's so well representing us girlies, and what it's like being a neurodivergent woman. But obviously, like I said, no diagnosis, so I'm not putting that on her. I related to it. Honestly, the reason it's not a 5 stars is because I remember nothing about the relationship, and this is a romance book. Like, all I could focus on is how much I loved her. Could not tell you a single thing about this relationship other than it was really healthy from what I remember. But yeah, he had nothing to him in my opinion other than like I really liked how he treated her, but like I couldn't give it a 5 stars if I don't love him as well, you know? I really loved her. Love her. That's all I have to say. I think I read Not in Love and this next book in that TBR video as well, by the way. This is The Drift by CJ Tudor. This is horror. I rated this 3.5 stars. Honestly, it was not the book's fault. I didn't know it was horror going into it. It scared the life out of me and I was not prepared. There are 3 different stories in this and you're always wondering, like as you're going from different POVs, how the hell are these gonna link up? And it's definitely a unique way that they do. I am like honestly getting chills thinking about it. If you like horror, read this book. If you don't like horror, I don't think this is going to be for you. I love Stephen King's horror. I don't really read horror outside of that. So this unfortunately wasn't for me, but I rated it 3.5 stars because I really did like the non-horror aspects of it. Speaking of Stephen King, we have different seasons. I read the 4 books in this collection, and I'm gonna rate them as if they're 4 different books. If you're not a big Stephen King fan, it's gonna shock you that he wrote some of these because they're like best-selling movies. The first one we have is Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption. Yes, Stephen King wrote that. I rated that one 3 stars. I liked it, but it's a bit rambly. And a lot of it is backstory. For a short, like 150-page story, we don't need that much backstory. But it's Stephen King, so you know. Then we have Apt Pupil, which I rated 3 stars. I don't even know if I can tell you what the book is about without this video getting taken down. World War II, the German side, a soldier, and a boy who was obsessed with the German side of World War II. It was so weird and messed up and messed with my head. Then we have The Body, which is the film Stand By Me, is the adaptation. I rated it 2 stars. I feel like nothing happened in the book. I have not watched the film, but I know that it's like so well loved. And maybe I need to watch it because nothing happened in the book in my opinion. So what the hell happened in the film for it to be so good? Nothing else to say about that one. And then we have The Breathing Method. This was only 75 pages, but I rated 3 stars. It was shocking. A lot happened. That's kind of all I have to say about this book. Honestly, one of his definitely weaker books. I love Stephen King, but when you've written like 90 books, a lot of them are going to be great, but some of them kind of have to be misses. You can't write 90 amazing books, you know? Then I read The Boyfriend by Freida McFadden. Me and Ellen over on Instagram always buddy read Freida McFadden books, and we always have the best time. Oh my goodness, I rated this book 5 stars. I adore Freida McFadden so much. I read like almost her entire backlist. I think I have 3 books to go, and I'm trying to drag it out as long as I can because, oh, this woman is a genius and mastermind. Me and Ellen, it's so funny, like once you finished it, reading back through our chats where we're so sure we figured out what's happening. Never do we finish. Never do we figure it out before the end. So good. The book I read in that TBR video, Indigo Ridge by Devney Perry. This is small town romance, but there's also a murder mystery subplot, which I absolutely loved. I ended up rating this 4 stars. I love when romance books have something else other than the romance to focus on. With this one, it's a murder mystery. But is it a murder mystery? Is it not a murder mystery? What the hell's going on? We follow the girl as the chief of police. So you get a lot of tense moments, and I really enjoyed it. Oh my goodness, this next trilogy consumed my thoughts. I read these all in videos too. This is the Prison Healer trilogy by Lynette Noni. Every single book was 4 stars. Read this series right now. First up, The Prison Healer. Every time I see a review on this book where people say nothing happened, I have to think, did we read the same book? Deathly Trials, being in a murderous prison, magic system, banned magic, healing stuff, what the hell? A rebel queen. The ending had me speechless. This is so good. Read it. Then we have the second book, The Gilded Cage. This was originally going to be a 3.5 until I read the last 100 pages. Oh my gosh, Lynette Noni, you are a mastermind. 4 stars again. I can't tell you anything. It's the second book in a series, but I loved it. We have The Blood Traitor, again 4 stars. This book was insane. I loved the ending so much. It was such a satisfying ending. It was so good. You will leave this series feeling so good. Like, I adore how this ended. Like, it's gonna make me tear up because I love these characters so much. Please read this trilogy. It is so worth your time. This book, however, is not worth your time. This is The Fell by Sarah Moss. I would have DNF'd it if I wasn't reading it for a TikTok video. This is 180 pages of the ramblings of a middle-aged woman who is supposed to self-isolate in COVID, but goes stir crazy and just ignores the rules. And then she gets stuck on a mountain And it's like, if people are gonna go and rescue her, they're gonna risk getting infected. This is set in like early 2020. Oh my god, so boring. The only reason it's not a 1 star is because I saved my 1 stars for DNFs. Oh, I don't want to say anything. So boring, made me so annoyed. Then I have 3 books that I read in, what video? A video that's not out just yet, I don't think. It is Prompt Jar picks my reads for the week. We have Gothicana by Runix. Now, I spoke about this a lot in that video, so I won't go into too much detail. However, I rated this book 3 stars because I absolutely loved the plot, the magical vibe, the dark academia, the murder mysteries, but I hated the romance. I felt like there was no romance in it. It was all just lust. Like, there was no... These people did not love each other. I'm not buying it. Sorry, not buying it. So I rated it 3 stars because I thought that was a perfect mix of loving so much of it and then not liking the romance. This is good. It's not great. We have The Other People by CJ Tudor, another library book thriller. I rated this 3.5 stars. It was interesting. It's about this guy whose wife and daughter were murdered, but he never actually saw his daughter's body, and he thinks he saw her the night that she was supposedly murdered, like in a car going in the opposite direction. So he's convinced that she's not actually dead, and he's getting into all these, like, making up his own conspiracy theories, basically. It is really, really dark, really, really twisted, and you really wonder why you're getting all these different POVs of people that seem unconnected. But just you wait until you find out why. Finally, I read Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. I can't figure out still if I'm saying it right. Gillian McAllister, I'm not quite sure. I rated this book 4 stars. It was so good. It took a while to get going, but once it did. This is a book about a woman who witnesses her son murder someone, and then she wakes up the next morning and it's the day before, and then she wakes up again the next day and it's the day before, and then she's going back in time and she's got to figure out why each of the days she goes back to are significant to leading up to her son's murder. Not her son's murder, her son murdering someone, and she's got to change it, basically. But she's like, what? I have all this knowledge, but like, if I change something, is it not gonna happen? Like, ugh, I don't know. I really like the ending. I think a lot of people aren't gonna like it, but I really, really liked it. I thought it was really clever. And those are the 23 books I read this month. November, I have a feeling it's gonna be another big reading month because a lot of these I read in the last week or so. Like, I have really got my reading streak back on. I am devouring books left, right and center. Gonna be a lot of thrillers and a lot of fantasy in November, so stay tuned, especially for the reading vlogs. I have some really fun ones coming soon. Next reading vlog you guys are gonna get next week is where I use a prompt jar to pick my reads. I read 5 books in that video and it was so much fun. I really, really recommend that. So if you want to be notified when that comes out, click the notification bell down below. That is everything I have for this video. If you'd like to see more, please be sure to like and subscribe as I post new videos every single week. I hope you have a lovely day and I will see you in another video. Bye!